Welcome to the Horizon Sportscast, where we deliver everything sports related. This is Josh.
And I'm Jake.
Today we'll be doing a division breakdown of the AFC North, one of the toughest divisions in football.
Not only one of the toughest, but one of the most heated divisions in football that has a lot of bad blood. Literally every team is rivals with every other team in the division. So you have a lot of games that mean a lot, that have a lot of controversy and bad blood like we saw in the playoffs at the end of the year with the Bengals and the Steelers.
And yeah, I mean, you see a lot of dirty hits, you see a lot of flagrant fouls. It's just one of those divisions.
And all these teams have a history with each other. You have probably the most prevalent rivalry right now in the division, the Bengals Steelers. You also have the Ravens Steelers. You have the Ravens and Browns, who the Ravens are the new Browns, and the Browns are the old Browns. It's very, very convoluted, and you have a lot of bad blood, like I said. So, who do you have winning the division this year?
I actually have the Steelers winning it this year, and they're actually finishing 5-1 in the division. Their divisional games.
5-1. I have them winning as well. So why don't we just go ahead and start off with them, since we both have them winning the division.
Okay. Well, last year they finished 10-6. They beat the Bengals in the wild card.
18-16. Kind of give us your thoughts on what happened in that game.
Well, once again, it's just, it's bad blood between these two teams, so it's a very physically fought game. A lot of controversial calls, non-controversial calls. I'm not going to get into all that because I honestly felt like both sides
were at fault. Yeah, you had the Steelers really dominated the first three quarters of the game. And you had Ryan Shazier put a nice lick on Giovanni Bernard and kind of celebrated afterwards, and I think that's what kind of sparked it there.
That's what made it controversial.
Yeah, that's what sparked it. But these teams already hate each other, so it's not like this is anything new.
And I'm not defending the guy, but the way I look at it, he was celebrating the play he made. He didn't realize Giovanni Bernard was on the ground, really hurt.
Right. It's football. You're gonna have big hits, and you have two teams that hate each other, and if you lay a big hit on some guy and you celebrate it and he's knocked out, you're gonna have that kind of stuff. But the Bengals came back in the fourth quarter behind A.J. McCarron, took the lead, and then got the ball back after a Steelers turnover, I believe. And then Jeremy Hill, who will be a big topic of discussion when we cover the Bengals, fumbled the ball as they were running out the clock, and it was recovered by the Steelers. They went down, a couple bonehead plays by the Bengals, a couple bonehead penalties, and the Steelers were able to kick an easy field goal to win the game, move on to the divisional round. So from there, they lost to the Broncos after Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger were down and out. And Denver went on to win the Super Bowl. So let's get to what they did in the offseason here.
One of the big acquisitions that I loved was Ladarius Green. As you know, I'm a big Ladarius Green fan. A very athletic tight end. But when he was playing with the Chargers, he didn't see many targets because he was playing alongside one of the all-time greats in Antonio Gates.
Yeah, he's going to get his own piece of the pie here with the Steelers. I think.
And he's going to have that chance because he don't have a real veteran leader.
Right, and Heath Miller is gone now, so you have Ben looking for another big target. And,
over the middle.
Yeah, over the middle, and he's huge, and he's also super fast for a tight end. So.
Former basketball player, if I remember correctly.
Yes, kind of like Antonio Gates. So. Also, they added tackle Ryan Harris.
Former Bronco?
Mm-hmm.
I think the year they actually won the Super Bowl, though, he was with the Texans, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was.
But Notre Dame guy, not really. He started at right tackle a little bit. He's a serviceable kid, so he might actually get some playing time on that line.
Yeah, their line's kind of a question now, so that especially the tackles. So we'll have to see with that. Also, they added linebacker Steven Johnson, going to be a depth guy for them.
And then Ricardo Matthews on the defensive end spot, 3-4 guy.
I like that pickup. Add some more depth. They don't have a lot down there.
They really don't. I mean, they have a lot of young talent, but not a lot of depth, like you said. and he's a veteran guy, so he's been a journeyman, but he's going to be able to fill some holes, fill some needs.
Yes, and they lost a lot of guys in free agency, Josh. Big one being tackle Kelvin Beachum.
I forgot about that. Yeah, the Jags picked him up. He was actually a pretty good tackle. When he first came out and when he was first playing, he wasn't even getting playing time, and then he somehow beats out all these, former second-round picks and stuff. And he did a very well job, and he got a pretty good contract too from the Jags.
Yeah, he did. Jags have been spending a lot of money lately, and he earned it. I mean, he was a good tackle for the Steelers. It's gonna hurt them, I think.
Yeah, blindside is gonna be an issue for the Steelers.
Absolutely, and another big one, I think here, defensive tackle Steve McClendon goes to the Jets.
He was a stalwart in the middle. He really was, and he was another surprise because with other teams he didn't do much, but when he came to the Steelers, the scheme just worked for him.
Now, do we think he is going to be able to produce with the Jets, or was he more of a scheme guy with the Steelers?
Well, it's not the same scheme as the Steelers, but still 3-4, and they have a lot of talent with New York along the defensive front, So I feel like he would be a good fit there. He might actually be more a rotational guy because they have a lot of first round talent there.
Definitely.
But I think he could actually schematically fit into that system.
I think so too. So they also let go of middle linebacker Sean Spence. He went to Tennessee, kind of a backup for them.
And he's been hurt most of his career, so he hasn't really had a chance to really show what he can do. So maybe he'll get a fresh start. That's what he needs.
Agreed. Fullback Will Johnson goes to the Giants.
Big boy, but he could get downfield and block for Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
He could play a little tight end too.
Yeah, he's a good fullback for them. Another departure here, we got cornerback Antoine Blake, also goes to Tennessee, to join Sean Spence. Really fast guy. He played mostly in the slot last year, I believe.
Very fast guy, very raw guy. Got picked on a lot last year.
Yeah, he did. Their secondary was not the best, but he showed some promise. Tennessee's retooling their whole defense, so I think that's a good pickup.
I think he's a Dick LeBeau guy, and Dick LeBeau likes those speedy kind of guys.
Yeah.
So it kind of works, and it's going to let him play his scheme in Tennessee more.
I agree. Tackle Byron Stingley goes to the Giants. Another depth guy there that they had on the offensive line. Played right tackle, I believe. Halfback Jordan Todman goes to the Colts. Saw a lot of playing time last year after Le'Veon Bell went down.
He made the most out of his opportunities. I was actually surprised to see what he did. I remember seeing him play for the Chargers, or was it the Jags? I can't remember if it was the Jags or Chargers.
It was the Jags.
When he had a chance to make some opportunities with his playing time, he actually capitalized. So he's a interesting young player.
Yeah, he's going to be a backup in Indiana. He's not going to be like a starter or anything. But I liked the pickup. I liked what I saw from him in the playoffs and throughout the year after Le'Veon.
I feel like he could make a role for himself in the third down situation.
Yeah, definitely. Also in the return game too. Also, they are losing defensive end Cam Thomas as he goes to LA.
LA.
It's going to be
He's going to sweat all that weight away, pretty much.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he's kind of been a bust so far.
Yeah, 6'3", 335 pounds. They expect when he first came out, he was a high buzz. He really was. But anyways, which one do we want to talk about between? I kind of want to mention Heath Miller here retiring. That was a big time Steeler. Just time to hang up the cleats.
Yeah, kind of sad. It's a kind of a recurring theme as we're doing these divisions. We talked about Roddy White and Marcus Colston, and now Heath is gone. It's
a bunch of long-time players for the long-time teams.
Yep. He just got kind of old to the point to where you can't perform at a high level. So hopefully that means that's why they picked up Ladarius Green. They got Jesse James behind him. So
Jesse James would be a good compliment too. By the way,
yeah,
I'm not discrediting that kid, but Ladarius Green's Ladarius Green.
Yeah, I cannot say enough about that pickup. Also gone, Michael Vick.
He just hasn't re-signed with another team yet, right? He's still a free agent. Yeah,
it's free agent. And then kind of a big loss for them. Cortez Allen refused the pay cut, and he is gone.
I wouldn't really call it a big loss because every time I've turned on the Steelers game, it seemed like he was allowing a completion. And I hate to say this because I hated their secondary last year, and I always dogged this guy. William Gay was actually their best corner last year.
Oh yeah, he definitely was, easily.
So I mean, losing Cortez Allen's kind of understandable. Them trying to give him a pay cut. I mean, it's not. I feel like we'll get to it in a minute. With what they did in the draft, they would need Cortez Allen.
Yeah, they definitely made up for it in the draft, and let's get right into that.
Okay.
First round, cornerback Artie Burns from Miami.
World class speed.
Mm-hmm.
And the discussion on this kid was, where does he fit in other teams' draft boards? Because some teams were saying he was a third-round draft talent, and for other teams it was a first round. So it's really just about picking the player that's the best on your board. So they're saying the Bengals might have taken the corner they wanted. I'm not.
I knew they were going corner because they need one, but I knew once there was a wide receiver run right before the Bengals picked, and I knew as soon as forget who went right before them. It might have been Treadwell, but as soon as that last wide receiver was picked, I knew they were gonna go Will Jackson there because he was the best corner on the board at that point. So
he was the best available player.
Best available player too. Yeah, definitely. So a lot of teams see him as a safety. I'm not sure what the Steelers think of him.
Artie Burns as a safety. That would be interesting, but they need to get more talent at corner first.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I mean, their whole secondary, really.
Yeah.
They got Mike Mitchell, but
he's a stopgap.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah. Another interesting fact about him: he was a track star at Miami. Like you said, he's got that world class speed, so
right.
He's going to be able to make plays for them, I think. Second round, corner / safety again. Sean Davis from Maryland.
Height, weight, speed.
Yep,
that's the mantra with this kid. Height, weight, speed. He fits all those molds for the position.
He ran a 4.4 at the combine. Projected as a safety. He's a really good run defender. If he is going to be a corner, I read that it's not going to be in a man-to-man scheme. He really needs to be in a zone scheme, which
the Steelers run.
Yep. So
although it seemed like they was doing a little bit more man possibly last year, but that's probably just because of the corners they had.
We'll have to see. I think he's a better fit at safety for them rather than corner.
I could actually see that. I mean, they have some younger talent on the corner spot, so if they move him to safety, it might actually create some interesting matchups.
Yeah, I think it'll work out that way. Third round, they drafted Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle out of South Carolina State.
Most disruptive interior pass rusher. One of the most out there. So that's very high praise for somebody picked in third round, honestly.
Yeah, he's going to be a 3-tech. They got that their starter is probably going to be Daniel McCullers, their defensive tackle. So he's going to be a 3-tech for them, play behind Cam Hayward. So, like you said, he's a really good pass rusher. Can also stop the run. He's really athletic, but he's very raw.
South Carolina State.
You have when you pick these smaller school kids, you always have that question of talent disparity.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing Division I
against high
talent. They're playing against lower level guys, which, I mean, it's been proven wrong before, but you'll just have to see with someone like that. Fourth round, they finally addressed the offensive line with Gerald Hawkins out of LSU at tackle.
They say he's a really good run blocker, but I'm actually going to let you take this over because I know you have something you want to say about this LSU product.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have him as a developmental prospect. He can play all over the place. I think he is eventually going to start for them, but right now he's more of a depth guy.
Okay.
I think he's going to be moved inside.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Or right tackle. Build. Don't think he's a left tackle. I don't think he has it.
No. I mean, if he's taken that late in the draft, he's not going to have it for the line side. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, developmental. Sixth round, they took linebacker / safety Travis Feeney out of Washington.
Oh, so another hybrid, hey?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I heard buzz around him that he's another late round sleeper, so we'll see what he actually does.
Yep, he 6'4", 230, ran a 4.5 in the combine, which is pretty solid for a linebacker. He's a big hitter, but he can be inconsistent when he's tackling, so that might be an issue.
That build, that athleticism, that's always
sixth round. That's a good pick for them in the 6th round. Another developmental pick. They can mold into whatever they want to do. He said he could play safety or linebacker, so we're just going to have to see what they do with him. 7th round, they had a couple picks in the 7th round. DeMarcus Ayers, wide receiver from Houston.
Only really thing I looked into him about was that he could be a possible returner, and they were hoping maybe in the future he could be that slot guy.
Yeah, he ran a shaky 4.72 at the combine, but there were a lot of reports that he was injured, so that might have hampered him there. He ran a better one at the pro day. Looks like the offensive coordinator maybe wanted to take them for more of like a Chris Rainey, Dree Archer kind of project, like you said, with a return game.
Right.
And maybe some sweeps or something like that. Some
creative stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be a number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 wide receiver. He's going to be a role player. But 7th round, why not take a flyer on him, Also in the 7th round, I really like this pick.
I read up on this kid. Tyler
Matakevich.
Al Temple, outside linebacker, overachiever. They say he has average physical traits, but his football instincts are awesome.
Like a Zach Thomas.
Yeah, that was his comparison on NFL.com. That's just that's sexy right there to me. I don't care how slow he is, how high he can jump.
He won the Bronco Nagurski trophy last year in college football, which goes to the overall best defensive player. So
that's high praise.
High regards, high praise. 138 tackles last year at Temple and 4.5 sacks. So
solid numbers.
Yeah, really solid numbers. Temple's, no slouch. They play in the AAC, so they play a little lower competition, but that kind of production you can't
discredit it.
Yeah.
It's you're still playing against good talent throughout. College football. It's not like everybody isn't a starter. You got talent throughout college football. So if you put those stats up, you're something special.
Mm-hmm. So that wraps it up for the draft. Big Ben. How long does he have?
Well, with how they didn't really address the offensive line that much, I don't think he has much longer. I think he might have a year or two in him.
Really?
Because he's injury prone. He's lost the weight, but which might help with that issue. But they really haven't done much to the offensive line. They got David DeCastro, okay. That's great guard. You got a great center. But your tackles, like we discussed.
Right.
How are you going to protect them? How are you going to keep them healthy? You're going to run the ball, but you got a running back that's coming off a serious injury, too, so...
Yeah, let's go right into that. Le'Veon Bell, probably, before the injury, best running back in the game.
Yeah, most
I
complete.
would say. Complete, can pass catch, can run the ball, great ball vision.
Pass block.
Pass block, too. Yeah, definitely. And he suffered a serious injury against the Bengals, I think.
And we've seen... yeah, against the Bengals. Once again, a controversial player, but whatever. He loves the game. I'm not dog on him, whatever. But, we seen when Adrian Peterson first came back, he had a good season, but he wasn't 100%.
Those are always tough injuries to come back from. He's going to have almost a full year to recover from it, so is he going to have the same explosiveness that he has? Probably not. It's going to take him a while to get back in the group, but I think he's going to put up similar numbers to what he has in the past couple seasons. Yeah. Maybe a little lower. Maybe
There'll be some
production.
dips. Yards per carry might go down a little bit. Yards per game will go down a little bit, but he's such the complete package that they're going to find ways to get him the ball. Still throw him out of the backfield, etc.
And D'Angelo Williams is back, so they also have another guy. He stepped in and did great for them last year. Older guy stepped in and got it done. He didn't match the production that Le'Veon did, but he had some really great games, and he produced for the Steelers. So he's going to be back there to take some of those carries away. And I know Mike Tomlin said that he's going to want to get D'Angelo some touches.
D'Angelo is a really good back. He used to start for the Panthers.
Yep. Yeah, he's no slouch at all. So I didn't...
It's a good tandem.
Yeah, I don't see... When Bell got hurt, I thought, well, they got D'Angelo Williams. That was my exact thought. Because, he's been a starter for years, and he's a veteran. He's going to be able to produce for him. So I think their running game is going to be fine. I don't think it's anything to worry about.
I have to agree with that 100%. They'll be fine with the running game. Passing game, they'll be fine. With the loss of Martavis Bryant, that's going to be kind of... Yeah, that's
such a waste.
So many players these days just don't understand the opportunity they have before them and the life they can make for themselves. So they got to make silly mistakes, and they'll be fine without him. I mean, they got so much talent, but if he would have not been stupid, think of that offense.
He could have been an elite. He wasn't almost close to an elite receiver last year, but this year he would have broken out. I think
he made some elite plays.
A top 10 receiver in the league this year.
I could agree with that. Big play potential. Yeah, I could agree with that.
So I think I kind of disagree with you there because I think that's a huge loss for them. I don't know if they're going to be. They have Marcus Wheaton and they have Sammy Coates,
and he started coming on.
He did. But Martavis Bryant being out for a whole entire year is going to hurt them a lot. I think, even with Antonio Brown.
That's the only reason I don't feel like it hurts them that much, because whoever's playing across Antonio Brown, they're going to get freed up.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, you're right about that.
He's the one who frees it up. He's the one who freed it up for Martavis Bryant.
Frees it up and still puts up ridiculous numbers.
Yeah.
So
probably, once again, I'm going to say it, one of the most complete wide receiver. I love the kid. He can run routes. He can go deep. He can go across the middle. He can do it all.
He's young, too.
Yeah. He's very promising.
Oh, yeah. I think he could be an all-time great.
Oh, I can agree with that.
If he keeps it going and Ben keeps throwing it to him like he always does, I think he's going to be an all-time great. Tight end. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Darius Green, probably going to start for them. They got Jesse James, also, this is his second year, I believe, out of Penn State. He's a big body guy. Third year. Yeah.
6'7", big frame. Kind of lean. That's kind of the knock on him. He's kind of lean. But,
yeah.
I mean, they don't use their tight ends a lot in the run blocking game. Well, I'm sorry. Heath Miller was a great run blocker. I lied. I don't know who's going to fill that spot, though. They don't have that a guy anymore.
They have Matt Spaeth, Josh.
Okay, he's a good run blocker, but he's not
good. He's a good run blocker. I think they'll be fine at tight end. Ladarius Green was a big pickup for them. So
that's going to help with the loss of Martavis Bryant, too.
Another thing, Roosevelt Nix comes back to be their fullback after the departure of Will Johnson.
Roosevelt Nix. Okay. I'm trying to remember nothing.
He replaces Will Johnson.
Yep. He's probably, you're going to see a little bit of a fall off because I feel like Will Johnson was a really good run blocker. But Le'Veon Bell's a good running back. He'll be able to figure it out.
You put any fullback in front of Le'Veon Bell, and Le'Veon Bell will be fine, I think. I think he can fend for himself. Offensive line. Tell us.
I want to know how they're going to protect Ben this year. They're going to have to run the ball like 75% of the time. That's the God honest truth. 75% of the time and throw it 25% of the time off play action to make him think it's going to be run.
30 carries a game for Bell?
20 and give Mr. What's his name? D'Angelo Williams 15 carries. There you go. That's going to be the average per game for each running back right there.
Fantasy owners will love that. Yeah. Defensive line here. Interesting.
I love... Cameron Hayward is underrated. I'll just say it.
I agree.
I've watched some of his play. He's underrated. Undervalued. He's
a really good 3-tech. I think he fits really well. when he got drafted by them, I was kind of iffy on it because I was like, man, he played on the outside, but he kind of grew into his bot. Yeah, he really grew into it, and I'm really happy that he's fit in as well as he did there.
And he it's not like he don't get a chance to go after the quarterback. He still gets sacks.
Oh yeah,
spot.
he produces.
They find creative ways to free up their defensive line too, instead of just their linebackers. Although I'm not saying it's schematically, it's physically too. He's physically gifted.
Oh, he's a specimen for sure. He huge second generation star. His dad was a really good player. Crap, I forget his name.
I would have no idea about his name, but
whatever.
You guys will Google it for us and let us know. So
he, I love the kid. Also, you got Stephon Tuitt on the other side.
They drafted him second or third round a couple years ago, and he's kind of grown to his own. He's actually gotten some playing time, and he's actually impressed.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he does. A lot of people kind of worry about their defensive line. I don't really have any qualms with it.
It's actually was pretty solid when they had Steve McLendon now, who's going to play in the middle. You got Daniel McCullers. He's a question mark. I mean, he's 6'7", he's 350-something pounds.
He is huge.
He's huge. But the issue with being that big is leverage.
Mm-hmm. Can he get under the tackle's shoulder pads?
Well,
or not tackle.
Guard, centers, taking on more than one blocker. How is he going to handle that with such a big body? It's going to wear him out. He's not going to be able to play that many snaps.
And I think that's why they drafted Hargrave as well. Some questions about that nose tackle spot. Yeah. They also got Ricardo Matthews earlier for agency, so it's going to be...
They'll shuffle around.
Or yeah, it's going to be... They always rotate, so... outside linebackers, 3-4. Love what they do with their linebackers. Love their linebackers.
I love... Between Ryan Shazier being inside and Bud Dupree, those are some of the most athletic linebackers in the league as of right now.
Let's not forget Lawrence Timmons, too, on the inside with Shazier.
He's athletic, but he's getting old and longer, too, so he's not as athletic.
Can still produce, though, but he's getting old. But
he still makes plays.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the better pass coverage linebackers in the league, too. So
I agree. I really love their linebacker core. I think they're going to be able to really get to the quarterback this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have the guys to free up the gaps for him. You better be able to get to the quarterback.
Bud Dupree, they drafted him in the first round last year. I think he's going to have a breakout season.
Okay, give me a prediction on how many sacks you think he's going to get, Jake.
Bud Dupree. 12.
12?
12 sacks.
I'll put it at 9.
Respectable.
9.5.
Respectable. Another note with Shazier, we saw this like a week ago. He was racing with the wide receivers, right?
Antonio Brown, Marcus Wheaton, and Sammy Coates.
Do we know how long the distance was, or just?
I think it might have been a 40-yard dash, if I remember correctly.
Beat him in a 40-yard dash.
Yes,
that's awesome.
That just shows how much of a freak he truly is. If you're outrunning a wide receiver core, that's straight line speed is overrated, correct, but still, it's pretty awesome to see that.
Oh yeah, he is athletic to say the least. He's going to be a stalwart for them for years to come. Great player. Also, Jarvis Jones. Been a bust so far.
Yeah, I think what's going to end up happening is
it's his last year.
It's his last year.
They have an option on him.
They're not going to give him the option. He's going to be done. He just hasn't done it.
Gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
Gone?
After this year, he's gone.
Even if he produces.
Even if he produces, because it's just that situation where now he's going to have to play for money, and it's all. If he does have a good year, it's probably going to be about the money. So.
Yeah, I see him with another team next year. Even if
I don't even know if he's going to. He just hasn't produced. Even if he produces, I don't think a team's going to give him a shot. I mean, I loved him coming out of college, but the knocks on him were right. He was not athletic enough. He doesn't have enough explosiveness, and we've seen it. He can't do it.
Unfortunately, a bust for the Steelers. But they got James Harrison, old, but still...
he's still able to compete and make plays.
Crazy how he's still in the league at this point. With
What is he, like 38?
something like that. 36, 37, 38.
That's
around
hard
that.
for linebackers to play at that age. It really is.
Yeah, he's winding down, obviously. Which brings us to the biggest weakness on this Steelers team, which it was last year as well, the secondary.
I honestly can't tell you what they're going to do. Artie Burns is going to play outside number one. That's all I have for you. I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, well, they got, like you said, they have
Mike Mitchell.
Mike Mitchell. He's going to be their strong safety. Other than that, it's just musical chairs.
Just some names: Senquez Golson, Ross Cockrell, Artie Burns, Duran Grant, Sean Davis, the rookie, Shamarko Thomas.
Shamarko Thomas, I think, was a starting strong safety, and Mike Mitchell was free.
Yeah. So
Shamarko is actually a pretty good young safety. I'm sorry I forgot about him.
I like Shamarko Thomas a lot, actually.
He made a lot of plays last year.
A lot of young talent that they have. It's just a question of them gelling together and them becoming a decent secondary that is going to allow their pass rush to get there. That's going to be the biggest issue for them. So
The pass rush covers up a bad secondary, and a good secondary covers up a bad pass rush. So they need to work in unison.
yeah, I agree. Punter Jordan Berry and kicker Sean Sweezum. Nothing really to add there. Just kind of filling out the depth chart
Squeezum's
there.
been solid.
Yep. Nothing really more to say. So I think that does it for the Steelers.
So I guess next, Jake, we should probably look at the Ravens. Do you think?
I say let's do it.
All right.
So what do you have them at?
I have them finishing at 8-8, 3-3 within the division. Last year they were 5-11. What do you got them at, Jake?
I have them improving by one game.
One game.
6-10, Josh.
That's a little cruel, Jake. They had a lot of people injured last year.
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it?
I don't buy them. I think they have the talent. I just don't think it's going to happen this division's too tough.
They have the defense talent, though I feel like the offensive talent's still lacking a little bit, despite what they did in free agency.
Yeah, I have them going 2-4 in the division. So, like we said earlier, top division, it's going to be hard. We both have the division winner at. You had them at 9-7, right?
I actually didn't mention the Steelers 11-5. I'm sorry.
Okay, I had them at 10-6. It seems like the division winner is always around that mark. No one really dominates that division, so it's going to be really hard for them to. They're going to improve. I think 2017 is going to be a good year for the Ravens. I think that's when they will jump.
You think they'll jump next year with some of their best talent, Elvis Dumerville and Suggs getting older?
Okay. You'll listen later. I really like what they did in the draft. They had like 12 picks. So
Yeah, they had quite a few picks.
yeah. All season. Let's get to it. They re-signed wide receiver Marlon Brown.
He was pretty solid for him. Despite him not being a well-known name, he made some pretty good catches for Joe.
Mm-hmm. And outside linebacker Chris Carter. Depth. Yeah. They added in free agency free safety Eric Weddle.
Big signing, maybe somebody who is peeking out a little bit, but I feel like that he could give him a little bit of an element of what Ed Reed did, possibly.
And this was huge, which I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. Will Hill
failed another drug test.
Got suspended. He's gone.
Yep.
Another huge waste of talent.
And he had a really good year last year. He
was one of the best strong safeties in the league, I felt, last year. And it's really a shame, honestly. Because you would have had Weddle and Will Hill. And that would have helped tremendously. Now they have a hole at strong safety, which we'll get to later. But it's going to hurt them. Also picked up wide receiver Mike Wallace.
Gives them that threat that Torrey Smith was.
Deep down the field. Joe Flacco likes to throw deep.
Yes.
So
it's one of his best qualities is the deep ball.
Maybe they'll be able to hook up and have a nice connection there. Tight end Ben Watson.
Had a breakout year with the Saints.
Breeze loved him.
Breeze loved him. Never was a true receiving threat with the Patriots. I feel like it might have been a schematic thing with the Saints. I do not feel like he's going to produce with the Ravens.
They have a lot of depth at tight end.
Well, they still have this put up, but he's been unhealthy a lot. And then the other guy last year...
Gilmore.
I forgot.
Crockett Gilmore, Max
He
Williams,
was hurt last year. Yeah, they have really good tight end.
Pitta, so...
Pitta's...
He's gonna have to fight for playing time.
I feel like Pitta's not going to make the team.
Probably
Just
not.
my prediction.
Never know. Quarterback Gerard Powers, veteran. Their secondary is not good.
They had good players, and they lost them, and they've been getting hurt. And it's just one of those teams where it seems, I don't know, it's one of those divisions where you don't have a very good, solid secondary.
Really, none of the teams do.
No.
If you think. I mean, you have Joe Hayden and...
Well, Darius Webb at one time was good, but he got hurt, and then he's fallen off.
He fell off.
Well, one of the corners on this team is actually pretty solid. Jimmy Smith.
Yeah. Big guy.
Big guy. But they also picked up Sharice Wright.
Sharice Wright, yep. Also, backup quarterback, they picked up Josh Johnson. And then, really like this, picked up guard Vladimir Dukas.
Jets. We struggle with him at times, and I don't know how when the Patriots played him. He's not that great, but he actually had a lot of success against Vince Wilfork. So, in a physical division like this, he could actually be a contributor.
He's going to fit. Let's get to departures. We already touched on Will Hill. Sad. Defensive end Chris Canty is gone. Wide receiver Kamar Aiken, gone.
They actually re-signed him, I thought.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. I did these notes a while ago, so that might have happened recently, or it might have just been an oversight.
He's just one of those guys that he's been practice squad, not practice squad, and he got moved up. Go ahead. I apologize about that.
No, you're fine. Thanks for correcting me. Quarterback Jimmy Clausen, tight end Chase Ford.
Also, linebacker Darryl Smith. Recently released Eugene Monroe just today.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, as we'll get to later, they drafted a pretty solid offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley, out of Notre Dame.
You think that's a sign that they're gonna? Because I heard a lot that they were gonna try him at guard at first, but do you think they're just gonna throw him into the fire from day one?
They're gonna throw him into the fire from day one. Draft him that early.
They better. Number 6 overall. They passed on Tunsil.
He's paying that kind of money. He's going to start at left tackle.
I agree. Also, I think that's it, actually.
Kalichi Azamelli.
Yes, he left for the Raiders.
Raiders? Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, left for the Raiders. They had a nice little guard combo there with Marshall Yanda and Osinley, and now he's gone. Yeah. So they're hoping Dukas can step into that role for them.
And then also you have quarterback Matt Schaub gone.
Matt Schaub. Went to go join his old team.
Yeah. Linebacker Courtney Upshaw. Same team.
Upshaw. There he goes. They lost a lot.
They did. But, as we're about ready to get to, they replenished a lot of depth and talent in the draft. So, I'll let you start off, Jake.
I think that they had one of the best drafts. Besides their first round pick.
I'm looking at it, and I see a lot of guys, and I'm like, this guy could probably plug in and be a starter for what they lost. And there's a guy in the 6th round, we'll get to it in a little bit, and I'm actually kind of interested with. Anytime I see offensive weapon, I'm like, okay, I want to see what they can do with this kid. But anyways, to go to the first round, what do you think of Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame?
I think he's going to be good. I don't think that he is going to be a franchise guy.
So he's not going to be the next, what was his name?
Jonathan Ogden?
Yes, Jonathan Ogden.
Probably not. I think he's going to be I think he'll make a Pro Bowl or two. I think he's a good player. Just not the franchise guy they're looking for.
So
they should have drafted Tunsil. I know you have that thing with the bong mask, but it's 2016, man. I'm trying not to get political here, but they really missed out on the opportunity to get the best player in the draft at 6. And
they did. I agree with that. You should have. I mean, he's young. He He admitted that he did it, but it was when he was even younger. So
yeah, it was stupid, and he paid for it. But you gotta really feel bad for that kid because I mean, it's not like he posted it.
I honestly do, because he didn't post that. He probably didn't even record it. None of his friends was like, "Oh, this is gonna be funny. This is gonna be hilarious," and
goes to show young people making dumb mistakes. That's been a
could have played for a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? So, Ronnie Stanley been compared to Tyron Smith for the Cowboys.
I hate that comparison.
Because tell us.
You just think of Tyron Smith. They consider him the best left tackle in the league right now. I understand that you're just trying to give a comparison to what they could be, but that's big shoes to fill. That kid is so athletic. He's one of has the best feet of all the tackles. He's probably the fastest.
Well, Stanley is really athletic too. Read that he actually had multiple Pac-12. He's from Las Vegas. Had multiple Pac-12 basketball scholarships offered to him. So, very athletic guy. Really good at pass blocking. Excellent run blocking, which is why I thought they might bump him into guard for a little bit to replace Assembly. So, but it's pretty obvious now that they're kicking him out in left tackle and throwing him in the fire, which I think is the right thing to do if they're going to let go of him in a row.
He played on a good team with Notre Dame. He played against a lot of good talent, so why not let him protect the blind side? I mean, he's faced some of the best talent in college, so he could probably handle it in the NFL.
I think he's going to be a good player for them. I think he's going to be their left tackle for the foreseeable future.
I feel like he's actually going to get a second contract, unlike Michael Ward.
Oh.
I feel like he's a better player than Michael Ward is.
I agree with that, definitely. Easily. Second round, I really like this pick, Josh. Might botch his name here, but Kamale Correa, outside linebacker from Boise State.
He's relentless, and I'll let you take over from that, because I know you want to talk about this game.
He is a violent pass rusher. I read what Mike Mayock had to say about him from NFL.com. He sets a violent edge. He has a great motor and quickness. But the biggest knock on him is that he kind of lacks technique with his hands.
Well, in college, wasn't he a defensive end, so this gives him a chance to actually play more with angles and stuff, too.
Yeah.
To where he could easily use his hand, just swipe down instead of have to worry about the hand placement so much. It frees up a lot of that.
Good value in the second round, I think. He, with them losing Courtney Upshaw.
Yep. Plugs in, gets some rotational time between Terrell Suggs and Elvis Newmanville.
Good pickup, I think. Third round, they also addressed their front seven with Bronson Kaufusi.
Defensive end now, BYU.
Long and strong. Huge. He's 6'7", 6'8".
6'7".
Yeah, he's
like 270, 280.
He's tall. He's huge. The only knock on him, not physically, is that he's already 25. Being at BYU, you have that 2-year mission that you're required to do. So,
yeah, it is, but third round.
I think he's
good value.
He's a great player for.
Yeah. He's gonna plug in and play and probably replace Chris Candy.
Yeah, I like the pick a lot. I really do.
Playing next to Brandon Williams is gonna really free him up. Do stuff.
I can't say enough about this pick because they addressed one of their needs, and I think that, he's, like you said, he's going to plug in and play and replace Canty. So, fourth round, Tavon Young, cornerback out of Temple.
He's a competitive, small, nickel-type corner.
5'8".
Yeah.
Safety?
We just discussed that they have a lot of issues with corner. I feel like he's gonna plop in there and play corner, possibly kick Kyle Arrington out the door.
He might. He's got great ball skills, I read.
That's why you want your nickel corner to have too, though. So
yeah, size is a huge issue, though.
Nickel, though, you're playing against smaller guys.
Yeah.
He's not going to play on the outside at 5'8".
Yeah. I like the pick. They needed to address their secondary, and they did. So, fourth round, Chris Moore, wide receiver, Cincinnati.
Man, this kid, 22 yards a reception was his average. That is ridiculous.
33% of his catches last year were over 25 yards.
Can you say more? Now, the knock on him is his limited route tree.
Yeah. Can really kind of reminds you of Devin Smith from a year ago. Not really a complete receiver. He is a big, deep play threat.
Which Joe Flacco
Joe
loves.
Flacco loves that, so I think that's a good fit for them. Fourth round, again, they had 5 fourth-round picks. So, Alex Lewis, tackle out of Nebraska.
Technically sound.
I have here that he's an average athlete.
There wasn't a lot of talent in this draft. There really wasn't. You had a nitpick. You're going to have to find the role players this year, and that's what a lot of teams have been doing. And once again, this kid could actually, he's a fourth round. He could project eventually to be a guard.
Possibly. I read that he's probably going to back up Rick Wagner at right tackle because he was a left tackle in college. He could definitely kick inside though. I mean, he's going to be a backup for now.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is pretty set.
Modest.
Honestly, kind of set
It's
for the
solid.
most part. Not bad at all. Fourth round again, Willie Henry, defensive tackle, Michigan.
Very talented is what I hear, Jake. Is that true? You watch a lot of Big Ten football.
He's all right.
Is that biased, or is that you being honest?
No, he's all right. I mean, he's a really physical pass rusher. He can get to the ball carrier. Big issue with him is that he's undisciplined, jumps off sides a lot, which can be resolved
Problematic,
with
yeah.
coaching. So, good pick for them. Gonna help bolster our defensive line. Gonna be a 3-tech for them probably.
I mean, like you said, a fourth round pick, so I mean that's a pretty good value pick if he's really a pretty good pass rush. I mean, it's a passing league, you gotta build a pass rush up. Got the quarterback.
Last pick for them in the fourth round. I thought this was a really good pick for them. Kenneth Dixon, running back out of Louisiana Tech.
Best receiving back in the draft per NFL.com.
Yep. He's a slasher, not really a home run threat. Backfield's kind of crowded for the Ravens right now with Forsett and Taliaferro, but he's going to get some playing time. I think he's, like you said, best pass catcher in the draft.
He could make himself a role
Useful and
really
valuable.
soon.
Overall, I think they had a pretty good fourth round there. They addressed all their needs and added some depth at positions that they really needed to with those 5 picks. So they did a good job there. Fifth round, Matt Judon, outside linebacker, Grand Valley State.
I heard he's a possible future starter. They actually have him that high and feel that good about him. So
He had 20 sacks last year, so there's one thing.
pass rush technician right there.
Again, the level of talent is
Questionable,
always a questionable. Yeah. Read that he's a great pass rusher, kind of poor with the tackling. He needs to get his technique up to snuff.
Wish they have really good coaching staff here in Raven Camp. So
Fifth round pick, good pick. I'll let you go ahead and take this one.
Kenan Reynolds, running back out of Navy, pretty awesome. His officer rank or whatever said, "Hey, focus on football." That can't say enough about that. That's pretty awesome for a kid to get the chance to come out of
Naval
Navy
Academy.
and get a chance to make a career for himself in football.
He was an option quarterback at Navy, and as running the triple option, you don't throw the ball very often, so he's going to be a offensive tool, like you said earlier.
And they already talked about him using him in return games, so I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, when they had what's his name, who's playing with the Bills now?
Jacoby Jones?
No, Bills. The quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. They would sometimes actually take Joe Flacco off a little bit to run some option stuff.
Yeah, I read they're going to maybe use him for some read option and stuff like that.
So adds a wrinkle to their offense. You don't want to do that to a quarterback a lot, but since
you don't
Joe Flacco is so up and down, it actually probably won't hurt him so much because he's just a deep ball guy.
Yeah.
He's really not I'm going to move the chains. I'm sorry. He can do that, but he don't have... Well, Steve Smith's pretty solid, but they don't really have the offense to do that. I don't feel like.
I don't know. He's gonna make a role for himself. He, like you said, he had high praise from his commanding officer, and this kid has a ton of leadership qualities. He's gonna be a really interesting player, and I'm gonna watch a lot of Ravens football because of him.
I really hope he makes the roster.
I do too.
You always want to see these kids in the military make the roster, make a difference.
Definitely.
They serve their country, give them a chance to have a nice career doing what they have dreamed about. So
awesome. And their last pick after a lengthy draft, Maurice Kennedy, cornerback, defensive back out of the University of Virginia.
I just heard he's a really good value pick for the 6th round, and that he's pretty solid in man and zone.
Yeah. Secondary is, like we said earlier, pretty weak, so he's going to have an opportunity to compete for playing time. At 6th round, you're going to take guys for depth and for people that have talent, and I think he's a pretty talented guy. I think he's going to make the team.
Pretty bold statement there, but I actually kind of agree with you. I mean, the Ravens are known for starting some lower round picks, so I'm sure he will get some playing time. I mean, he will most likely probably make the team with how they finished last year at 5-11. So
let's kind of get to their roster here. Kind of go over it. So they're already set. Joe Flacco,
franchise quarterback right there.
Yep.
Just got a 3-year extension.
He did. I think he's worth the money. I know a lot of people crap on him and harp on him.
I crap and harp on him too, but he's really good at what he does. He's won a championship. He's been to the playoffs I don't know how many times now.
A lot.
Yeah, and Patriots struggled against them, so alright.
Looks like Ryan Mallett's going to back him up. Running back we already talked about earlier, kind of crowded. Justin Forsett, Lorenzo Taliaferro, Buck Allen, and we talked about Kenneth Dixon, and also Keenan Reynolds. So
it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I feel like maybe Taliaferro might be on his way out, possibly. He really hasn't made a role for himself.
Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, good pass catcher. He kind of fits what they do. He's a really good blocker. Not much. There's really not much you can say about fullback. But.
Right. Yeah. I mean, zone blocking scheme. You give your running back a cutback lane, and there you go.
Yep. Wide receiver, interesting.
It's gonna be. It is gonna be interesting. Steve Smith decided to come back this year.
Yeah, which I thought was huge.
Very huge. He was saying he was gonna retire, but then he got hurt. So I mean,
you don't want to go out like that.
You don't. So that's their number 1 spot, and then you're going to probably have Mike Wallace play number 2.
Slot.
You haven't predicted playing slot.
No. Slot. I have Mike Wallace at 2. Who do you have at slot?
Who do I have at slot? Campamiro came on a little bit. I'm kind of intrigued to see what he can do.
You have their first-round pick last year, Brashad Perriman, who was injured all last year. Got injured again, but it's not as bad as they thought. They thought it was another ACL, but it's not. And reports are that he's going to be fine to play for 2016, barring hopefully not another injury, because I would hate to see that.
Yeah, he has a lot of talent. He's a very speedy kid. Right now, I feel like he's going to be groomed into that number 1, number 2. I don't see him playing slot.
He's not a slot guy. He's too big.
Yeah, he's gonna be groomed into a starter.
Yeah,
I feel like he's gonna sit back behind these guys who have the experience and learn, and which is really what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm. Also have Kamar Aiken. Like you said,
he had a pretty good solid year last year. He made a name for himself. I've had some Ravens fans actually brag about the kids. So,
and you also have Marlon Brown.
Once again, made the most of his playing time. Made some pretty good catches over the middle. Solid. He really is.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do as far as wide receivers. You have the top 2 nailed down there, which is good, but slot's kind of a question who's going to step up there. So we'll see. We talked about the offensive line a little earlier. Very solid unit.
Ronnie Stanley, Ricky Wagner. You got Yonda and
Ducasse. And
not on him pass blocking, but.
And center, I really like Jeremy Zuda.
Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Former Buck.
So, pretty solid
Unit.
Yeah, solid unit there. I think Joe will be fine behind them.
Oh, yeah. Joe's always fine. He's oblivious to pressure. He really is.
We talked about the tight ends earlier. A lot of depth there. Crockett Gilmore, Ben Watson, Max Williams.
Oh, I forgot about Max, too. Crockett Gilmore's going to be the number 1 tight end by week 6.
Okay.
Ben Watson going to get kicked number 2.
Okay. Max Williams?
He'll be a 3 guy.
3?
He'll get rotational time. Because Ben Watson's a really good run blocker. So
I'm really high on Max.
Max is a really good receiver. He really can do it. Crockett Gill's more silly, and he's more of a complete kind of guy. He can run block, he can catch. He's a big body guy, kind of like a Robin Kowski. Gets me a little excited. He was hurt last year.
For Max Williams in the future, though.
Oh,
I believe
it.
It's going to be a star.
Oh, star. Okay.
Yep.
Big praise right there.
Hall of Famer. I'm just
okay,
kidding.
now that's Big Ten bias there from Jake, guys.
All right. Just kidding, obviously. Defensive line here.
What's good? Pretty solid group. You got Brandon Williams, nose tackle.
Timmy Jernigan.
He's another solid guy. When they picked him, they're like, is he really going to do good? He's been solid. He's been fantastic.
Absolutely. Lawrence Guy at the other defensive end position. Look what they did in the draft. Bronson Kafusi. They also have Carl Davis back there for some depth. So, defensive line, kind of feeling good about it for the most part.
Bunch of names that people won't know, but really good group.
Yep, I agree. Linebackers.
Well, Ellis Dumerville, Terrell Suggs, guys who've been at it for a long time, who are really solid. Terrell Suggs got hurt last year. They fell off. Then you have the stalwart in the middle.
C.J. Mosley.
He's not going to be as good as Ray Lewis or anything, but I feel like he's going to be one of the better middle linebackers in the league.
I like him a lot. Also got Arthur Brown there at the second middle linebacker. I think he's a pretty good player.
Oh, you think he's a pretty good player? A lot of Ravens fans disagree with that, but okay.
They don't like him?
They don't like him.
Well,
he hasn't produced.
I'll take him on the Colts if they don't want him.
All right, guys. Let's make this trade happen right now.
I'll get Ryan Grigson on the phone.
Yeah.
Outside linebackers, like you said, Terrell Suggs and Elvis Juniorville, both getting old, but behind them, got some nice young talent, I think. Zadarius Smith, who they picked up last year in the draft, I think. He came on pretty strong for them in the season. He made a decent impact for them. And then, name's escaping me right now. They just picked him up. Kamalei Correa. He's a rookie, but we'll see what he can do.
I mean, you picked him the second round, you're going to have high hopes for him, and he's going to get some playing time. They'll rotationally put him in. So
let's see with that. Secondary. We talked about this a lot earlier.
Eric Whittle is going to allow him to do a lot. I feel like he's going to make the whole group better. That's all I really have to say. It don't matter who's your number 1 or 2. He's going to allow them to put the players in position to schematically help them win football games, and Eric Weddle is going to be that game changer. Yes, he's getting older. He's already hit his peak. He's starting to head down, but he's got a couple years in him to make things happen for the Ravens.
Corner, Jimmy
Smith's number 1.
Ladarius Webb
number 2.
After that, it's a question. Kyle Arrington's garbage.
He really is. I never liked Kyle Arrington. He allowed so many deep balls when they played him outside. I don't know why the Patriots did that. The Ravens don't do that because they're smart. You guys are smart. You're utilizing the proper, correct way. Thank you. Bill Belichick, I love you, but sorry. My rant.
So, Eric Weddle's got free safety down, strong safety. Will Hill is gone. I have read around, and the Ravens think that 6th rounder that I talked about earlier might be starting for them.
Okay.
Maurice Kennedy.
That's a possibility, and I remember last year they picked up a safety from the Bengals. I don't remember his name, and he actually got some playing time too.
Kendrick Lewis?
No. But the name's escaping me. Don't worry about it. He used to be a special teamer, and he got some playing time with the Ravens. So
they're going to rotate a lot,
yeah,
I think, because they don't have anything.
That's what preseason's for.
Yep. That's going to be an interesting positional battle there, the whole secondary, besides Eric Weddle. Punter, Sam Coach.
And kicker, Justin Tucker, one of the best.
Best in the league.
Oh, bam! Right there on paper.
Just
better
kidding.
than Stephen Gostowski.
Just kidding. Gostowski is best.
There we go. You heard it here. Jacob.
But Tucker's too.
Saying a Patriot player is the best in the league, guys.
I've said before that Gronk is the best tight end, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, snap. Did he just say it, guys? Once again,
Better than Tyler Eifert.
A lot better than Tyler Eifert.
Which brings us to the Bengals.
Yes, the Bengals. I actually have them finishing 8-8, but 4-2 in the division. So they're beating out the Steelers for second place.
I have them at 9-7, which puts them in second place. However,
I can't breathe. Jacob's on the Bengals train.
Whoa! I have them losing 2 more. Well, they went 11. They went 12. I have them losing 3 more games than they did last year.
Oh, okay.
They went 12-4 last year. Lost to the Steelers in the wild card game. Shocker.
Chokes.
18-16. This is the 5th year in a row that they've lost in the wild card round. And how is Marvin Lewis not fired?
The thing is, before Marvin came along, they couldn't even make the playoffs. And you got to remember, once you get to the big dance, you want to win, yes, but it's about getting to the big dance. And it's really hard to continuously do that year in and year out. I understand that you want to win. And Brown is being patient. I give him credit. Mr. Brown, you're being patient. But you've had the talent, and some of it's escaped because you're not winning the big game. It's time to get rid of Marvin Lewis.
His head has been called for over the past couple years. I think this wild card game was the last minute of this game was totally his fault.
He has to have better control of his team.
You can't allow your players to go off the rails like they did. Yes, whatever happened on the field, I don't know exactly. I wasn't on the field. I watched the game. Some words were definitely said. Some things were said. Some punches, some shoves, whatever. You can't be a bonehead. You can't be an idiot.
They're adults. They should be able to control themselves better. So it's really You can put it. You have to put it on Marvin because he's the coach. That's his job. But you got to put it on the players as well.
The players are just as much to blame for as Marvin,
yeah.
But Marvin has to take control there, and he didn't, and that's why they lost that game. There's no other way to put that. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I think it's going to be really.
It's gonna be hard to keep him. If he don't make the playoffs, if he makes the playoffs, he'll probably get another year.
He's been there since 2002.
He's the second most tenured coach to Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's crazy if you think about it.
It really is,
considering how mediocre he's been until the past couple of years. I mean, I remember.
It's better than the Browns, with the Browns doing musical chairs with the coach every couple of years. So, going to the playoffs, it's big. It is big.
I don't see him making it this year. I think Marvin is going to be on the hot seat more than he already is at the moment.
I can agree with that. I mean, you have the talent. You've already once again, you're losing players because you can't win the big games, which we'll get to here in a little bit. You just lost so many pieces that's actually going to make this tougher for you this year.
Josh, let's look at their first 8 games. I see one gimme win.
You see one what?
One gimme win. I think they'll beat the Browns at home.
You want to hear my surprise win?
What's that?
First one of the year? Broncos. I haven't beaten the Broncos.
Okay. I have them going 0-3 to start. So them going 9-7 is a compliment because they start the season at the Jets. It's going to be tough to win that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Pittsburgh. Not to mention Vontae Burfict is suspended for the first couple games of the season, which I think was smart by the NFL to go ahead and do that for the first game. And then they play them again in Week 15, so maybe that'll help a little bit. Then they get Denver at home, Miami at home. That's their first win, I think. At Dallas, at New England. Then they have Cleveland.
I got
Washington.
1-5 that stretch.
I have them 1-5 too. I think they beat Miami. It's
the only reason why I have beaten the Broncos is quarterback, and the Bengals have a solid secondary to kind of keep them in it.
Ooh,
yeah,
solid, huh?
I know they lost Reggie, but they got Georgia Loca. You know, they keep on pouring these first round picks into corners. Darquez is going to get some playing time. I feel like Jackson.
He's from Houston.
Yeah, who's from Houston will probably actually maybe still some playing time for Pac-Man.
I can see that. Let's just go ahead and jump into what they did in the offseason. They re-signed wide receiver Brandon Tate, who I know a lot of Bengal fans dislike because his propensity to fumble.
But a lot like him because he's really good in the return game. He really is. He has explosive play material. He's just not consistent. Like, he's made so many crazy...
He's Ted Ginn.
Yeah. He's Ted Ginn.
Less talented than Ted Ginn, I think.
You can compare him to that. I agree with that. But, you said, okay, continue.
Biggest one, Georgia Loca.
One of the better
safeties
in the league. I'm not going to say the best. He's actually he's 6'4", he's huge, and he has really good coverage skills.
Poor tackler, though.
Very poor tackler. He can line somebody up and he can knock somebody out.
Oh, yeah, he can.
Hence his name, Loca, you know. He gets a little Loca. Loki. I'm going to stop with puns, guys.
That was bad.
That was terrible.
Outside linebacker, Vinny Ray.
Been solid for him.
Stepped in when Burfict has been out. Solid player. Backup. Tackle, Eric Winston, probably going to start for him, right tackle.
Yep. Or one of the two guys they drafted last year.
Jake Fisher or Ogbue. Yeah.
I don't see Winston starting.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a veteran.
He's a veteran. He just has a veteran leadership. I feel like that's the only reason they re-signed him, because leadership.
I think he'll start at the beginning of the season, but I think eventually one of the young guys, probably Ogbue, will take over.
Ogbue more than likely, because Jake Fisher just don't have the upper body strength.
Nah, really. He's a tight end.
There you go.
Defensive tackle Pat Sims. Some depth.
Good rotational guy for him. He's been solid for him when he's been there. So.
And also another defensive tackle, Brandon Thompson.
I seen him play a little bit last year. He actually is a pretty good interior pass rusher. So.
Mm-hmm. I really like this extension that they got here with Sean Williams, who showed some sparks and some promise last year in their secondary.
Everybody was worried about losing Reggie Nelson. The good thing about Mr. Lewis is he knows how to get his young players developed. And this kid, when he came out of college, there was a lot of hype around him, and he was supposed to be a sleeper. He's been molded into this role for, what it has been, 3 or 4 years now? I feel like he could do better than what Reggie Nelson does. Yes, Reggie Nelson's a playmaker, but I feel like schematically he's going to... I don't know. I just like the kid.
I do too. He made some big plays last year. Made a huge interception in their win over the Steelers when they played them, when they were still undefeated. Pretty much sealed the game by picking him off. I think he picked him off again in the other game. So I think he's going to be able to step in. He's not going to replace the production that Reggie... Statistically. But good young player. I really like him a lot. Like you said.
Bengal players were so upset. Bengals fans, were so upset. But eventually your young talent's going to have to step in. You don't want to keep on giving Reggie Nelson a ton of money when he's getting long in the tooth.
Yeah, he's He's reaching...
he's 30 plus.
Yeah, 30 plus. It's getting to that time to where I think they made the right choice there in letting him go and not re-signing him. They knew what they had. I think they know what they have in him, and they're just going to let it fly.
You see him in practice. You see him in training camp. You see him on your scout team.
Really, I think he's going to be a good fit. Let's get to additions here with free agency.
Well, another safety. Taylor Mays just came back home.
Taylor Mays. Special teamer. Didn't really work out in Oakland.
Hasn't worked out anywhere, honestly. I mean, when he was playing with the Bengals, he got some playing time. But I feel like they have a better group of safeties now, and he's going to, like you said, be a special teamer.
He can hit, though.
He can hit. I feel like maybe, possibly, now that they lost, we'll get into that later, but they lost one of their hybrid-type linebackers. Maybe he could fill that kind of necessity.
I can see that. I can see him kind of being a hybrid there. Yeah, definitely. Carlos Dansby.
Big pickup, especially with the four-game suspension.
Perfect.
Perfect. Was solid for the Browns last year. He's been solid with each team he's played for. He's really good in pass coverage. Yes, he's getting older, so he's not as good at the point of attack against the run game and stuff, but very veteran-savvy type player, just can get it done.
He's definitely an improvement over A.J. Hawk, who they signed last year.
A.J. Hawk, he could possibly fill in for Ray Maluga on third downs, which Ray struggles. He improved last year. Ray Maluga improved majorly last year.
I did notice that,
which a lot of Bengals players didn't like about him, so he improved. So, anyways.
Big pickup here. Brandon LaFell.
You say big pickup, and I say, way to go Bengals for picking up the Patriots trash. Once again, thank you.
So, you weren't a fan of LaFell in New England?
First year, I was ecstatic about the way he did. Then come playoff season this year, and he had so many balls thrown at him and just couldn't come down with it. I was just upset. I was like, I'm done with this kid. Let him go.
Well, Josh, they lost Marvin Jones. They lost Mohamed Sanu. Wide receivers in this free agency class were not the greatest.
I agree completely.
So I don't hate him. I don't think he's as good as Marvin Jones.
I think one of the rookies is going to beat him out, which we'll get to later.
Ooh,
yeah,
good prediction there.
Yeah, rookie's going to beat him out. Sorry, Brandon, you're going to be on the streets here in 100-something days. Well, that's when preseason starts, I think. No, I think it's after preseason. Yep, 100 days. You're going to be bid out, and you're going to be a free agent market.
Ooh.
Bye.
Ouch. Some sour grapes there.
Some very sour grapes.
All right. Departures. We already mentioned Mohamed Sanu leaving for the Falcons, and also Marvin Jones. They're 2 and 3 guys behind AJ Green.
AJ Hawk's gone.
Yep. Also, we mentioned Reggie Nelson earlier. The heart of that defense.
Heart of the defense, I can agree with that. The veteran backbone to the back end.
Big loss. I agree with their move to let him go, but
he just brought so much playmaking and potential.
And leadership.
He covered up so much of the issues with some of the corners that they had.
And the inefficiencies of the linebackers, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, he covered up the middle of the field very well. He can't compliment the guy enough. He struggled in Jacksonville. He came to Cincinnati. Amazing guy.
How do you think he's going to do in Oakland?
I think he's going to have probably a pretty down year. Because they don't have the secondary that the Bengals have.
Great. We kind of covered them earlier. You got that rookie Carl Jones they spent their first-round pick on, Reggie Nelson. That's a nice little tandem for them.
That is a nice tandem. I'm a big fan of that safety group. The corner group, not so much. I mean, Sean Smith's okay.
I think this is their biggest loss.
Oh.
In this offseason. Offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson.
Yes.
Gone to Cleveland.
They've lost so many coordinators in the last 4 years, I want to say.
Zimmer, Gruden, and now Hugh Jackson.
Yes. And he was a plus for Andy Dalton. He got Andy Dalton going. I feel like he groomed Andy Dalton into that next tier of quarterbacks. I'm still not saying he's elite, but he's taken the next step.
I was impressed with what he did last year.
I was very impressed. I've been so hard on that kid. Last year was the year where I was like, okay.
I was impressed. I think the Bengals are going to suffer a little bit without him.
Andy Dalton's going to suffer. AJ Green's going to suffer. The run game's going to suffer. I feel like their offense next year is going to be lethargic at best.
I do too. We'll get to that later. Also, they lost one of the best defensive back coach in the league, Vance Joseph. He went to Cleveland with Hugh Jackson. So, another thing there, they lost their defensive back coach who...
Yeah.
They have a lot of young talent there who just lost the guy that they looked up to. So, it's going to be an interesting year for the Bengals. So, let's get into the draft, Josh.
2 more players, real quick.
Oh.
That I want to discuss, because these are actually one of them most Bengals fans will be happy about. Andre Smith going bye-bye.
Yep.
But a nickel linebacker, Emmanuel Limmer.
Oh, gosh.
He is one of the Bengals fans' favorite guys out there because he can just do so many things. He can cover.
Big fan favorite.
He had a lot of potential, and he's going to join Mike Zimmer.
Oh yeah, he did go to the Vikings. Yeah, that's right.
So as did Andre Smith.
He's going to be a player there. I really liked him a lot.
And with the talent they already have, like linebacker with Barr and Kendricks. He's going to be a good complement to that group.
Really like that. Kind of sucks for the Bengals.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Bengals fans.
So first round, Josh. William Jackson III out of Houston, cornerback.
Well, once again, like you mentioned earlier, they probably wanted to take a wide receiver, but this was the best available player. That he finds the football. He's really good at finding the football, going over and getting it. I'm gonna let you take over from there because I know you love your college football.
He has elite speed. 4.37. He ran at the combine. He's tall and lanky and really has a good frame. Like you said earlier, I think he's going to take some playing time away from Pac-Man. He's definitely going to be a starter, I think. 100%.
Do you think he can possibly beat out Darkest and Hart?
No. I think Darkest is a little more developed at this point. But they did just sign a deal with him a couple days ago. They just inked their deal with him, so that's good. And like you said earlier, this pick was pretty nice for the Bengals, considering everything that happened beforehand and the Steelers drafting behind them. They had the 3 receivers. They had Corey Coleman go to the Browns at 15. Then they had the Vikings take Treadwell, the Redskins take Dotson, and the Texans taking Will Fuller. So all 4 first-round receivers were gone right before they picked. So they went with the best available player and probably who the Steelers were going to pick. So great pick. Loved it.
With their second-round pick, I felt like they might have possibly actually gotten the best receiver in the class. Tyler Boyd, out of Pitt. Broke all of Larry Fitzgerald's records. Most technically sound route runner in the draft. I feel like he's going to beat out Brandon LaFell.
Okay.
And he's going to be that guy. He's going to be what Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones was supposed to be.
Yeah, at Pitt, he took a lot of sweeps in the backfield, and he's kind of that role player. I mean, he was
They had musical chairs at Pitt. They did not have a quarterback.
Yeah. So, he's a really good route runner. Really good route runner. That's his best attribute out of all. So
in this league, you need some veteran savvy at route running because these corners are just so athletically gifted and so technically sound. If you can come in and be a good route runner, coming in out of college, you're going to be a starter.
I think I will start in the slot. I'm not as down on LaFell as you are, so I think LaFell is going to be fine.
Oh, okay.
But he's going to be their slot guy, I think.
Okay.
Just a note, he was a Steelers fan growing up in Western Pennsylvania.
Eagles fan. There you go.
Yeah, but I read it in an interview. He buried his terrible towel, so he's putting his. He didn't burn it. He buried it. He put it away. So
why would you bury it? You're supposed to burn it. You're a Bengals fan.
That's a figure of speech, Josh. He buried it. He put it away. He said he was fully focused on his city that gave him the chance. So
you should buy a terrible towel and burn it for Bengals fans. It will please him immensely.
Yeah, I'm sure Tyler Boyd is listening to us right now.
He could be. You never know.
All right, third round, Nick Vigil, middle linebacker from Utah State.
144 tackles.
Huge production.
Yep.
Huge production. More of a run support kind of guy. He's decent in coverage. He kind of lacks the instinct and twitch that you want.
But with this division where you got a lot of power running, he can
run stuff.
Make a roll for stuff.
He came out with like a 3 to 5 round grade on him, like anywhere from the 3rd to 5th round. So the Bengals must have really liked him to pick him up in the middle of the 3rd rather than wait for him. They must have really wanted him. So I think they're prepping for Malaluga's departure.
Very quite possibly. I can see that. I mean, Malaluga's been up and down, and he's getting a little older, but he's been solid for the Bengals. I know Bengals fans give him a hard time.
I like Malaluga. I think they're just grooming him for the eventual departure of him.
Yeah.
4th round.
I was a fan of this pick.
Yeah. I'm surprised he was slated as a top 20 pick for the longest time.
Andrew Billings.
Defensive tackle out of Baylor. He just turned 20 years old.
Young guy,
And Marsh.
heavy anchor, elite strength. The only knock on him is that he's possibly a 2-down player, which it might have been why he slid so much.
Yeah, he's just a run stuffer. If he can develop a pass rush like Geno Atkins, he is. I mean, you can't. I can't think of a better mentor
Than
what he's going to have with Geno, and also Pecco too.
Pecco, yeah, that's kind of he
Veteran.
kind of fits the same mold as Pecco right now.
Mm-hmm.
2-down guy. Once again, it's pass rush. It's a passing league. That's why he probably fell. But he has so much of the talent in the world. Once again, I'm surprised he didn't fall out low. I mean, 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah, it's really surprised he slid to the mid-4th. I mean, he... Whatever, man. NFL executives. 5th round, guard Christian Westerman out of Arizona State.
Versatile inside. You could probably plug in any 3 spots and possibly get some playing time.
Yep. Kevin Zeitler is entering his final year of his contract, so...
I feel like
I
they're
think
going to
so,
re-sign him.
I do too.
Because you got Andrew Whitworth getting older. You got all these young guys that you drafted.
Clint Bowling and Russell Bodine.
It's you gotta. He's your best offensive lineman.
Yeah, you got to re-sign him, but I think this is a good pick for them in the 5th round. He's athletic, but 5th round he's a project.
Yeah.
6th round, wide receiver Cody Cord, Ole Miss.
Played alongside your boy Treadwell.
Come on, Treadwell. Yeah.
Knock on him is he's inconsistent, but playing across Treadwell, he made the most of his opportunities, but he was inconsistent at best. So.
Yeah, he has really good size, good frame. He can go up and grab the deep ball, but the biggest knock on him is that he doesn't run back to the ball. Like, he will just sit there and wait for it to come, and he's also a terrible route runner.
You gotta either be a big, strong guy, come back to the ball, or you have to be a good, solid route runner, or you're probably not gonna make it in the NFL. So, Cody, step up your game, bro.
Good luck. I think I'll make the team, though.
Oh, bold prediction by Jake here. He's gonna make the team. I say he's gonna get waived and make the practice squad.
We'll see. 7th round, Clayton Thedulum, safety out of Illinois.
Tackling machine,
Box safety.
inconsistent in coverage. So yes, definitely.
7th round, practice squad, maybe.
Yep, special teamers. It just depends. I mean, as we discussed, their safety, they don't have a lot of safety depth. You could push Taylor Mays out. You drafted a kid. You only had 1, 2, 3, 4. You had your seven picks. So I mean, possible with all the departures they had, you could make the team. Quite possible.
So we kind of touched on this earlier, but let's go ahead and go through their depth chart here. Quarterback, pretty set, I think.
Yep.
Andy Dalton's their franchise guy.
You have 2 guys with playing time now, immense playing time, pressure situations. You're set at quarterback.
A.J. McCarron
solid year.
proved me wrong.
He proved you wrong?
Proved me wrong. I thought he was going to be complete garbage for them, but I was impressed with what he did.
I think that might have been a little bit more of
I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a backup, but I'm really impressed with what he did. Running back, Love one, hate one.
Giovanni Bernard, who just recently got a contract extension, probably one of the most explosive out of the backfield, receiving, running backs, just good at what he does, what they ask him to do. And then you have Jeremy Hill, power guy. I'll let Jake take that over because I know how much he loves the guy.
So his rookie year, he really came out and kind of supplanted Bernard. He got most of the carries over Bernard after Bernard got hurt, didn't he?
He was banged up a little bit during the year.
Yeah, so Hill kind of supplanted him towards the end of the year and had a great, I think he was the leading rusher in the last 10 games of the season, whatever. Dumb stat. But anyway, this year he comes on, can't do anything but score on the goal line. Had a really hard time with his vision. He's not good.
He's not good.
I thought he was pretty overrated to begin with. I thought they should have picked Carlos Hyde when they had the opportunity to. I thought he would have been a great fit for them.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, they picked Hill.
Jeremy Hill reminds me, Ben Jarvis Green also. I know the People's Nation remembers the law firm. Do you guys remember the law firm?
Talk about a throwback there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude fumbles too much. Cost the Bengals their season. Pretty much.
Yep. Cost your team.
Way to go.
Way to go.
Fullback, Brian Hewitt. H-back. Really
Solid
like
kid.
this kid.
Solid.
Yeah, good pass catcher, good run blocker for the most part. Fits what they like to do. Wide receiver.
AJ Green, one of the best. I'm not going to say the best.
Yeah, he's an elite receiver, no doubt. Behind him, we kind of already touched on this, Brandon LaFell, which you don't think is going to do anything, but
I don't.
I think he'll be an okay number 2 guy.
He'll be a great run blocker for Jeremy Hill.
If he can get past the line of scrimmage. Also, we got Tyler Boyd, who we talked about.
Love the kid.
Yeah. Brandon Tate.
Inconsistent. Good special teams guy. Could play at the number 4.
And Jarius Wright.
Once again, 4, 5. He had a lot of potential coming out of college. Just didn't. A lot of players can't make it.
One of the better offensive lines in the league, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you got Andrew Whitworth protecting the left side, solid throughout his career. I think for the longest time, he had the league record for most consecutive plays without a sack or something like that. For withstanding, not actual career-wise, but withstanding.
Okay. He's a big leader for them.
Yes. It's huge.
He is their heart and soul of the offense.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like him. He's getting old, so that's kind of why they got the 2 tackles behind him, Cedric Albury and Jake Fisher we talked about.
And last year he was upset. He really was, but he proved to them he still got some playing time left in him. So,
one of the best guard combos in the league with Clint Bowling and Kevin Zeitler.
Zeitler, amazing. Powerful, amazing.
Center Russell Bodine.
This is where they're saying a little soft at, which I agree. The center spot. I really feel like if Christian Westerman, if they can get him coached up by preseason training camp and all that, he could possibly fill in at the center spot. That's one of my predictions.
Okay. All right. And then we talked about a right tackle earlier, Eric Winston. Josh, I know you think Ogbuie might take the starting role there.
Or Jake Fisher, one or the other. They drafted him. Winston was never a really good.
He's been in the league for a long time though, so he's been a journeyman.
And the reason being, he's not spectacular. He can run block for you. He's okay in pass protection, but he don't do anything great. He really don't.
I agree.
But he's a good leader.
I agree. Tight end, one of the best in the league.
Tyler Eifert led the league. Led the league in touchdowns for tight ends with 15. Took away Rob Gronkowski's reign supreme of having touchdowns 3 years straight. So I'll give him that.
I think he's really talented. I think he's the second best tight end in the league.
Second best.
Second best.
Okay.
I don't think he's quite better than Gronk. I think that's a ridiculous statement to make. He's younger, but
he's really good. He makes the tough catches, but at times you see the consistency.
The drops.
The drops. He's not focused and completely always there, or he's focused on other things in front of him. But I'll give him his due. He is really good.
It's his third year in the league, so I think he's gonna really.
They lost some guys, so he better step up, and
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's going to step up. I feel like he's going to have that.
He's going to be their number 2 target for sure.
Oh yeah.
Besides AJ Green. Not much behind him as far as depth. Tyler Croft, CJ Azuma. Nothing really to speak of.
I feel like they had a good tight end system when they had Jermaine. Tyler Croft, a lot of people were like him a little bit because he's athletic and stuff. I got to see more out of him.
Yeah, he's a young guy, so. Defensive line?
Carlos Dunlap, Michael Johnson outside. You have Gino and Pecco. Billings filling in there inside.
Brandon Thompson.
Yeah.
Pat Sims.
Pretty solid group. They're bringing in the younger talent because these guys are somewhat getting a little bit older.
Yeah, Michael Johnson. Pecco is getting up there too.
Yeah, so it's...
So is Dunlap, honestly.
Yeah, Dunlap's, I think, like 27 now or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got
he's
plenty
got some,
in the tank.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit left in the tank. I think last year he got a contract extension, so...
Yep. Behind them, do you think Marcus Hunt is finally going to make an impact?
No.
Nope.
No. He was just one of those, take
Freaks.
a chance. He was a freak. They wanted to give him a shot. See him play a little bit. He really hasn't produced much.
Just a depth guy at this point for you?
I mean, 6'8", yeah, depth. You wanted all the promise in the world, but just didn't work out. Didn't have enough time in football. Older. Don't have enough time to really make a difference. So his career is going to be over sooner than later. He's 28, 29, turning in here 29 this year. So
kind of sucks because I thought he was going to be
a big time
awesome.
player. Yeah,
I did. With that frame and how he got to the quarterback when I saw him at SMU. I mean,
it's one of those situations where it was probably the talent he was facing.
Probably, yeah, I might agree with that.
He was a big boy. Most linemen, college, you're gonna not be facing this. I don't know. 6'8's huge.
It is. Just sucks because I thought he was going to be a stud. But whatever. Linebackers, really good. Probably the strongest, besides offensive line, probably the strongest part of their team.
Yep, second strongest part. Yeah, I agree with that.
Carlos Dansby, Ray Malaluga, Vontez Burfict, who was suspended the first couple games of the year.
Vincent Ray.
Yep. Vinny Ray's going to step in fine for him.
Yeah. Easily.
Marquise Flowers, really athletic guy, really fast guy.
Good nickel.
Nickel backer. And you also got Vigil, who they drafted in the 3rd round. Behind them, might see some PT. Who knows? And then PJ Dawson from last year in the draft, who they picked out of TCU, also might get some rotation in there.
I feel like he might actually see... He was supposed to be the hot stuff out TCU,
yes.
So I feel like you might actually see him come on and make a role for himself this year.
I might see that. Corner. Who do you have? 1, 2, and nickel.
1, starting off the year, Pac-Man.
Yep.
Number 2, Alabama. We know this guy, Drake Kirkpatrick. Number 3, Darquez. And number 4 is going to be your first round draft pick.
William Jackson.
But that's going to end up changing. I feel like Jackson's probably going to push for the number 2 spot. Pac-Man. I said Pac-Man because I feel like Pac-Man's more of a number 2, but Dre, I don't feel like he's going to play number 1. They had Dre playing a little number 1 last year, too, though. And another departure we forgot about? Leon Hall.
Oh, yeah. I had that on here, but I just didn't read it.
But, so they got plenty of depth at corner. They lost a lot of veteran leadership, but these guys were meh. Leon Hall.
Yeah,
It was a good nickel.
I've got, for the most part, the same thing. Pac-Man is going to start the year off. I think he's going to be number 2 by the end. I'm not very high on Drake Kirkpatrick. He's entering his contract year. Mm-hmm. They have a team option on him. So, with all this young talent that they got coming in, I wonder if they're going to. This is his year. He's got to
produce. He's been terrible in man coverage. He's a good zone fit for their zone schemes, but when they man up, he's just crap.
He's going to be pushed by Denard and Jackson.
And which both of them are.
I think both of them are going to surpass this year. So, safety. Got George Laloka still get that re-sign. Sean Williams going to take over Reggie Nelson's spot.
Solid group right there.
Yep. Their secondary is kind of looking a little better than I thought it would. Now that we're kind of breaking it down,
I mean, Leon Hall was a big loss because he did when he was healthy. When they moved him inside, he really locked down that slot guy for him. That's kind of why I'm a little shaky still. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like you're gonna get as many turnovers without Reggie Nelson out.
Yeah, I think their secondary bold statement here is going to be better than it was last year.
Oh, okay.
I think the talent's finally going to gel there. I think their defense is actually going to be better than it was last year.
Defense overall, okay. I can see that.
But the reason why I have them losing so many games again is because of Hugh Jackson's departure.
And just the offensive disparity.
Yeah, like we touched on earlier, but you have anything more to add to the Bengals?
No, I say we move on to the Dookies.
Cleveland Browns went 3-13 last season. What do you have this year? I know we talked about this earlier.
Oh, I got the Browns finishing at 2-14, 0-6 in the division.
Ouch.
I'm cruel. If you play musical chairs with your franchise, I'm a big Hugh Jackson fan, but the players are going to get tired of it.
Josh, he's the guy.
He is the guy.
He's the guy. They better not fire him. Because he's the guy.
If they fire him, I want to see the Browns franchise disbanded. This guy is a great offensive mind. When he was with the Raiders, they gave him, a year and a half? And then Davis passed away. Mr. Davis passed away, so his son fired him. Mm-hmm. And he was starting to build something. I mean, yeah, he got a little crazy with the Carson Palmer trade. I'm into that. But this guy is going to be a big name in the NFL. He already is.
He was the hot young coordinator signing. He was the biggest one, I think.
Well, he's not so young anymore, but
yeah, hot shot.
Hot shot. There you go. Stick with that.
I have them going 5-11. I have them improving a couple games here. Let's go ahead and jump into what they did in the off season. Re-signings, free safety Don Jones.
USC guy, Seahawks.
Yep, let's just back over there. That's all. Do you have any more re-signings? I didn't see.
Didn't really get into the re-signings much, so no, I do not.
Okay. Signings, a lot of them here.
Big one. They mentioned Robert Griffin III. Is he gonna
hate him?
You hate him? There you go, guys.
I don't hate him. I do not think
hate the hype train that follows him.
No, I don't even care about the dude.
You hate mainstream. Anyway, so
no,
continue.
I'm saying I don't think he is an NFL quarterback. He's a college quarterback.
Okay.
And he got paid, and he's done. He's going to be a backup for the rest of his career. He'll be lucky to make the team.
Oh, that's bold. Okay, I agree with the fact that he is a college quarterback. But yes, he had one really good year, but then he got hurt. You gotta remember, he got hurt. Those knee injuries changed his game.
But what you gotta remember, Josh, the read option in the NFL right now, pretty much non-existent, right? Except for Cam Newton.
And except for Russell Wilson. You gotta get Russell Wilson out there.
Even before I don't know. I don't know.
Don't just ignore the read option altogether. Mr. Hugh Jackson said he's not going to change his scheme for Robert Griffin. I feel like this is going to help Robert Griffin as an NFL-ready quarterback. I feel like Hugh Jackson can be the quarterback whisperer here and make him back into the first-round talent that Robert Griffin was supposed to be.
If anything, if anyone's going to do it, it's him.
Yes.
Hugh, I don't think he can, but I'm very grateful that the Colts did not pick him. So, next, I think they did a really good job signing guys this year. I think they improved big time. I was a big fan of the Demario Davis signing from the Jets.
When he came out of college and I seen him play for the Jets, I was like, this kid is an athletic freak. The kid's so athletic. I love athletes in football.
Huge fan of this signing. I can't say anything more about it, really. He's going to be a starter for them. He's going to play for them. He's going to be a stud for them.
Enough said.
Guard Alvin Bailey from the Seahawks.
He's moved around quite a bit. Solid. I don't have a lot to say about him. I haven't seen him play a lot. I know he was with the Chiefs one time, and I think he was a backup.
Yeah,
he'll get some playing time.
Yeah, I mean, they let go of Mitchell Schwartz and Alex Mack, so that whole center to the right tackle area is kind of missing. So they're kind of hoping he can step into that right guard spot, maybe, because left guard and left tackle were nailed down by Joe Thomas and Joel Bitonio. So maybe he's gonna be the answer there, possibly for at right guard.
He'll be a stopgap.
I agree. They'll end up moving some younger guy there once you hopefully doesn't get fired after this year after they go 5-11. Free safety Raheem Moore from Houston.
Good pickup. When he played for Denver, we all remember the play where he allowed a ball over him.
Flacco.
Good safety. I gave him a hard time for that. He's actually a pretty solid safety.
Yeah, he was.
He's grown.
He was young then.
He was young. He's grown. He's grown into his own. He's made a name for himself. He's pretty solid. He still has a little work to do in coverage, but he's actually probably undervalued in that area. He's probably actually better than people give him credit for.
Okay.
Good pickup.
Okay. Next, linebacker Justin Tuttle from Houston.
Going to be a special teamer. That's kind of what his thing's been. I know Wade Phillips used to love the kid. That's all I got for him, really.
All right. Cornerback Eric Patterson from LA.
Eric Patterson?
Yep. I have no clue who this guy is.
Somebody else clicked in my head and I was thinking of Dimitri Patterson, so yeah, I have no idea neither.
No clue. New signings. We talked about Hugh Jackson. I think we kind of touched on that a little bit. So
yeah. He's really going to make a difference for this franchise if they give him more than the 1 to 2 years that they give their coaches.
Yeah.
Give him a good 4 years to at least build the team, and give him another couple years to actually
compete.
Compete.
Hopefully that's what new GM Sashi Brown will do.
This was an interesting pickup. A lot of football fans are like, why would he bring him over? Moneyball is the apparent reason. We'll see how that goes. Don't know how that works for football. Moneyball. It'll be interesting. I think it's an interesting combination.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If you're the Browns, they're the Browns. I mean, why not try something like this? Why not sign Robert Griffin III to a contract like they did?
What do you think of when you think of the Browns? You think of Dookie.
Yep.
Try to flush the toilet and start over. Fresh. Sorry, I had to. My puns.
All right. Departures. Dante Whitner, safety.
Kind of can't come into a crossroads in his career.
Yeah, I thought Cleveland was going to be a good spot. He's from the area, so I thought that might be a decent landing spot for him, but I think he's about done.
About done. Raheem Moore's going to fill in, and he's going to do excellent.
Yeah, I agree. Wide receiver Dwayne Bowe.
Don't even mention that's not even worth mentioning. Let's just move on.
Randy Starks, defensive lineman.
Pretty solid guy, good run stuffer, big bodied boy, getting older.
Another wide receiver here, Brian Hartline.
Ohio State kid.
I hate him.
Jake hates him. Ohio State kid that Jake hates. Did okay for the Browns last year, but didn't earn his contract.
No, definitely not. He made a sweet catch last year. I don't know if you saw that, though.
I think, and it's not clicking right now.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a nice catch. But that's besides the point. Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Football's gone out, Cleveland, guys. He's at the club right now. He's probably sniffing some cocaine, and he's getting his party on. Probably, that's all for Johnny.
You know, one thing that irritates me about him is whenever I do a franchise in Madden, somehow he always ends up being an MVP year one. I don't understand how that happens.
It's a
superstar
development.
It's not real life, but
he's living a superstar lifestyle, Jacob, so it comes into effect.
Yeah. God, what a freaking disaster this kid is.
I was excited to see what he could do in the NFL. And
I was too. I don't think, when he played, I don't even think he was that bad.
It's, when you come to the NFL, you gotta put the time into study, and he's out partying, he's out with LeBron James, he's out meeting some people at bars and stuff, and
he just did not get it.
He didn't get it.
He didn't get it.
A lot of young players don't.
And the Browns probably was not the best spot for him to land.
Definitely not.
Honest.
If you would have put him with a team like the Ravens
Dallas?
or grooved him, or Dallas, I felt like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones did one. He wanted to trade it for him, and his son was like, "Nope."
Yeah, which in hindsight, it's probably a good idea.
Probably.
But that's in hindsight. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
The GM Ray Farmer. He gone.
No, he gone. Yeah.
Head coach Mike Pettin.
Gone.
He gone.
And the big two that we've already mentioned, Alex Mack and
Mitchell Schwartz.
Probably one of the better right tackles in the league. Gone.
Probably one of the best centers in the league. Gone too. Into the Falcons. God, I don't know why they let Schwartz walk. I can understand Mack, but
I don't know, man. It's like you have a good offensive line. I know Alex Mack wanted money. You don't want to give him the money.
That's fine.
Mitchell Schwartz is from two or three front offices ago, presidents ago, Mike Holmgren. That's why. Yeah. You're trying to clean closet.
Clean the closet.
Yeah, clean the closet. Clean out your closet, guys.
They should have held on to him. I think he's a really good player.
He really is.
And another departure here, Terrell Pryor. Did he resign?
They re-signed him.
Did they? Okay.
I think they re-signed him.
Okay.
If I remember reading correctly.
My bad.
That's fine. And Carlos Dansby, of course, too.
Yes.
Gone.
All right. That was pretty lengthy there, what they did in off season. So let's get to the draft. And they had a lot of draft picks, Josh.
Yes. You guys are going to get a story out of this, all right? We got a book for you.
Oh. All right. Give it to us.
Corey Coleman, wide receiver at Baylor.
Playmaker.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of his, but he scored a lot of touchdowns at Baylor.
Compare him to Percy Harvin. His route tree is lacking.
Yeah. I think Hugh Jackson's going to make something out of him, though.
Oh, yeah. It would be really nice if Josh Gordon can get on suspended. 3 Baylor guys who have a little bit of a connection,
That would be crazy.
It would be
super crazy. I really like this pick. I'm not a huge fan of the player. I like the pick for the Browns. They needed
a receiver.
With Josh Gordon being a stupid idiot.
Yeah.
But
he's trying to get himself reinstated, by the way, Browns fans.
Hey, if he can come back and if he can get his head on straight, he can be an elite receiver.
Oh yeah, he was an elite receiver when he was playing. He made really good plays. I mean, but not knocking the player, knocking the person.
Yeah, but with all this time off,
is he still going to be there? Is his body going to be there?
Right. If he comes back.
If he comes back. Roger Goodell's probably going to shake his head no. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Sad. Second round, defensive end, Emmanuel Ogbah. Love this pick.
Oh, I'm going to let you talk about it.
Big and powerful guy out of Oklahoma State. Really explosive off the edge. He's probably going to be an outside linebacker for them. He's got the body to play inside. He's about 275 pounds, maybe, so he can play a little bit inside. But he's probably going to be an outside linebacker for them. Really explosive. Really like this pick.
A lot of scouts and NFL insiders had really high praise about him. I really want to see what this kid can do. I love my big boys who can pass rush.
That's him. Third round, Carl Nassib, defensive end out of Penn State.
What do they have him listed at? 6'7"?
6'7", Josh.
Relentless motor. I want to see this kid play, and I feel like he could possibly get some playing time. They're saying he's really talented.
Huge motor, huge upside, has no clue what he's doing.
Has no clue what he's doing.
He was a walk-on at Penn State. He didn't really play until 2014, and even that was sparingly. But he had 15 sacks last year.
15 sacks for his first real year of getting any playing time.
Yes, so that's where the huge upside comes from. So, like you, I wanted to see him play as well. I think he's going to be a good player for them.
What was Bill O'Brien not doing bringing this kid on? Just saying. Bill?
Yeah, pretty excited to see him play. Also, in the third round, the first of 3 third-round picks, or second of 3 third-round picks, tackle Sean Coleman from Auburn.
Plays nasty. You got to when you play for Auburn.
And this is probably the best story in the draft. I don't know if you...
I have not heard the story.
All right. Well, this kid signed in 2010. He's a little older. Diagnosed with leukemia.
Yes, I did read the story.
Diagnosed with leukemia. Undergoes treatment for it. Gets cured. 2012, 2013, sits behind Greg Robinson. Learns his craft and has been an all-SEC tackle for the past 2 seasons. And now he's made the big time. So, right tackle?
Yeah.
I really
Gets
like
plugged
him.
in right away.
Yeah, definitely. I like him a lot.
You want me to make my next prediction here, future prediction?
Sure.
Slides in left tackle and replaces Joe Thomas because Joe Thomas has been going out of Cleveland for a while. They're eventually going to belt shop Joe Thomas.
Okay, well, I mean, he played left tackle in college, so
Joe Thomas has been so unhappy with his franchise the last couple of years. He's been mentioning slightly he wants gone. Actually, the Browns have been trying to shop him themselves. It is a rumor. So, Joe Thomas, maybe not this year, but next year could be out.
I'd like to see him on the Colts.
I'd like to see him with the Patriots.
I would like to see him not with the Browns, because he's a franchise.
He's a franchise left tackle. He's one of the best in the league.
And it's a shame because he's wasted all these years with the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest talents of all time for a left tackle.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I mean, he's played for a bad team, but I could actually see him getting Hall of Fame.
Orlando Pace?
Yeah.
Rams were really bad for a long time, and he's Hall of Famer, so he reminds me of him a lot, too. So, last pick of the third round for them, quarterback Cody Kessler.
Mr. Oh, he's going to reach. Okay. Hugh Jackson's high on the kid, though. He's saying that he's a good decision maker.
I will say this. Cody Kessler will be starting by week 10. It's my bold prediction for the Browns.
But it's I think you're reaching.
Just because I think he's a reach doesn't mean I don't think that he will be good. Because I do think he will be good.
Oh.
I don't think he is a franchise quarterback at all.
No.
I think he will end up starting...
What is he, like 6'2", 213 pounds?
Yeah, he doesn't have...
Kind of like a Colt McCoy.
Yeah. That's the exact comparison for him. He's really accurate, but like you said earlier, Hugh Jackson is his biggest fan, so we'll see. There's a lot of quarterback competition going on, so that's going to be probably one of the most interesting things in the offseason in the NFL. It's going to be the Browns quarterback. So, fourth round.
You know what I'm in the mood for, Jake?
What?
I'm in the mood for some sherbet ice cream.
Stop. Jesus Christ. Outside linebacker Joe Schobert out of Wisconsin. Complete linebacker. Yep. Can play inside or outside for them. Can pass, rush, can drop in coverage. Production at Wisconsin. All 4 years he was there. I don't know, I guess the lack of athleticism, maybe?
That's usually
maybe
not
dropped
what kids...
Top of the 4th round, so a late 3rd, top of the 4th round. Kind of guy, fringe guy. I think he's going to make an impact for him.
I do too. I mean, their defense the last couple years is, last decade, subpar.
They got some pretty good backers, though.
They do. But I feel like I don't know. Yeah, they have some alright backers.
He's going to push for some playing time, though, and I think he is going to be a good part of their defense for the years to come.
I agree with that.
Also in the 4th round, wide receiver Ricardo Lewis. From Auburn.
Extremely explosive.
Really famous. And Auburn lore.
Okay.
They beat Georgia in 2014 on a Hail Mary from a Georgia defender popping up in the air and him running 15 yards and grabbing it and going to the end zone. And they won the game. And that was when they went to... just kidding. That was not the year they won the national title.
Oh, too bad.
It was the year afterwards. But anyway, he is a good route runner. Runs really crisp routes. Has good speed. But he doesn't show the ability to come back to the ball like we talked about with Cody Core earlier.
So, can he be the replacement for Andrew Hawkins?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
I mean, Andrew Hawkins can't stay healthy. He's a slot guy.
Well, Josh, they did draft 4 receivers in this draft, so they're really looking...
It's hard to predict.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. 4th round, safety Derek Kindred from TCU.
He's a tone setter. He's going to take some guy's head off.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of depth at safety right now,
They really don't.
He could end up being a contributor for them. 4th round again, wide receiver / tight end Seth DeValve from
Princeton. Yeah.
You know, the GM is a Yale grad?
Yes, I remember reading that.
So, yeah.
No,
Yale grad taking a Princeton guy. They don't really like each other, so...
They don't. There's going to be a
That's
lot of...
something.
Last smack talk.
Saying something. He's an athletic guy. It's going to be hard to tell where he ends up, whether tight end or wide receiver.
I feel like he could possibly fill that tight end spot just because since Cameron's left... Well, I'm sorry, the guy who had the breakout year tight end last year, I don't want to take away from that
Gary
guy.
Barnidge.
Yeah. But I feel like he could be more what Jordan Cameron was, this kid. So
I agree. 5th round, Jordan Payton, wide receiver, UCLA.
career reception leader for UCLA. Possession receiver, nothing explosive about him, just really good possession guy.
Yeah, he'll make the team. I think they're so depleted at wide receiver that I think they would take someone like Troy Brown at this state. Round 5, Spencer Drango, tackle from Baylor.
Versatile, can play probably all 5 spots a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he's an NFL left tackle though.
I can agree with that.
He's a developmental prospect. This is probably around the right spot for him in the draft to go. I think he's around a 4th, 5th round guy. Really raw, but like you said, is really versatile. So that's what the Browns need: someone who can play multiple positions on the offensive line.
This next one, 5th round, Rashard Higgins, wide receiver, Colorado State. You're always looking at college ball and saying none of these receivers are pro ready. Well, the good thing about this kid is he's pro ready. He's playing a pro style offense, and they're saying he's ready to go.
I really like him a lot. He is confident, really confident in his game. I think he's going to step in and be their number 2 guy.
Wow. Okay.
Corey Coleman and then Rashard Higgins.
See, these type of teams is where you can actually kind of do that, and you can't be knocked on so much because you're lacking talent. You're lacking. You gotta figure something out new. So yeah, I mean,
they're so like they have so many holes. It's at wide receiver. It's ridiculous. Round 5 again. Cornerback Trey Caldwell out of Louisiana Monroe.
extremely athletic, raw. You know, he's late, so this is kind of one of those guys you're just looking to see what he can do.
Developmental pick.
Yeah. Big fan of this pick.
Oh yeah. Round 7, middle linebacker Scooby Wright III out of Arizona.
He's
Production.
huge, productive guy. They knock him on his athleticism. He's probably fell because of his injury history, but I feel like he could possibly be pushing for a middle linebacker spot if they run the 3-4. So he could be playing alongside Mr. Demario Davis.
Yep, I agree. He produced so much in college, and he's, like I said earlier, I know I compare a lot of people to Zach Thomas, but that's the go-to when you have a linebacker that's not athletic but has all the instincts of a middle linebacker.
And I really want to see this kid. I want to see this kid play. I mean, I want to see him produce. I want to see him have a successful career. I mean, you fall that low in the draft because you get hurt. Oh, you're not athletically gifted. So what?
This is the best draft that the Browns have had in years.
Yep. They didn't
Top to bottom.
They didn't take a quarterback first round. I agree.
No quarterback first round. They took a wide receiver first round. This is the first time they've done that since Braylon Edwards in 2005.
Yeah.
So they addressed their needs. They're still going to be bad.
Still very, very bad. Sorry, Hugh Jackson. You're not going to make this playoff team this year.
I've been past couple years been pushing for the Browns to make the playoffs.
I want to see it. I want to see him. I want to see him beat out the Bengals.
I do.
I'm gonna laugh if my prediction's wrong, where the Bengals finish and the Browns finish on top of the Bengals.
Man, I mean,
it's possible.
It's possible. The Bengals are just talent-wise are the better team, I think, top to bottom, and they have a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, any more notes and news on the AFC North? Any?
Not really. I think that's pretty much it, Jake. You know, the Browns are gonna have a tough year, but they got a bright future if they allow Hugh Jackson to do their thing. That's what we've been harping on.
So, what's going to be the big brawl this year in the AFC North? There seems like there's one every year.
Bengals and Steelers again.
Yeah,
Bengals and Steelers.
I could see that just because of the playoff thing last year.
And all the players that got hurt.
Oh, yeah. But like we said earlier, hard-hitting division, tons of bad blood, really heated, rivalries everywhere. So it's going to be an interesting year for the AFC North. So I think that about wraps it up for them. So next week we're going to be flipping to the other conference and checking out the Packers, Vikings, Lions, and Bears taking on the NFC North. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.